Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Navis Nobilite. I am Captain Zelnick, and we are all getting ready for Adepticon. As you can see above you, that is the Adepticon Battle Fleet Gothic banner, with every one of those purity seals being one of the grand winners of the tournament. Now, if you want to add your name on a purity seal onto that banner, you have to go to Adepticon and play, and obviously you're going to need a fleet. And that's where I'm going to help you. I have with me 18 different fleets from all of the major factions. Now, a couple of factions I didn't make because it's really just a matter of time, and I don't want to have to spend an hour and a half pounding my head against a wall trying to understand the Orc clans list. So, without further ado, let's talk about some fleets and the ships that you may want to bring. We're going to start with the Commerce Protection Fleet Tau. Now, these have no exploration lists, exploration list fleet ships in it. If you want to bring some, by all means, this is just a series of suggestions. The fleet that I recommend, or at the very least you can work with, is a Custodian with a Leadership 8 Commander, upgraded for torpedo bombers and with the standard 1 reroll. You bring with it 2 protectors, the Tulku pattern. Tulku specifically is the one with more weapons batteries, but your lances are at 30 centimeters. You bring 1 emissary with a prow deflector, specifically the Sakea variant, though they're all the same. You can mix and match as you see fit. 6 Castellans and 3 wardens. Now, I want you to understand this fleet. This fleet is all about torpedoes. It is about filling the board with nothing but hate. And those torpedo bombers are going to be putting torpedoes in directions that your enemy simply won't be able to predict. And most prow-based defenses will simply not be able to help them with. It is a bit of a finesse fleet, but it's also extraordinarily lethal. You're going to have to balance your needs of fighters versus your needs of torpedoes, but ultimately, it will set up for an excellent torpedo alpha strike really early in the game, hopefully good enough to disable or at the very least force enemies into brace for impact. All right, moving on to the Grey Knights. Now, Grey Knights are another one of these finesse fleets. If you're willing to bring them to the battle, by all means. Here is the one that I recommend. You start with your Odo Malleus Inquisitor Lord with 1 reroll. He is on an Inquisitorial Cruiser. I give it torpedoes. You have 3 Grey Knight Strike Cruisers, 6 Nova Frigates, and 4 Hunter Destroyers for 1350 exactly. This fleet, again, is all about trying to convince your enemy that the real threat is the Grey Knight Strike Cruisers and the Inquisitor Lord on his Inquisitorial Cruiser, and not the 6 Nova Frigates and 4 Hunters that you brought along. Again, as a Space Marine fleet, it's pretty finesse, but you absolutely can cause a heck of a lot of hurt with this. All right, we're on to standard Gothic sector. Standard Imperial Gothic sector list, nothing fancy about it. You have your LD8 commander. You have 2 dictators, 2 overlords, 2 lunars with Nova cannons. It's a nice, well-rounded, vanilla fleet. It has everything you could ever want. You have your carriers. You have extreme long-range firepower with incredible accuracy. The overlords are upgraded, just so you know, and your lunars with Nova cannons gives you even better long-range firepower. You really don't have anything that you're not capable of beating with this list at 1350. So, good all around safe list. Your only weakness is yourself. Moving on to Armageddon, Imperial Navy Armageddon sector, with your LD8 commander again, because we like to save points on our command in the Imperial Navy, 2 dictators, 2 tyrants with upgraded range, 2 Armageddon battlecruisers. Pretty similar to our Blue Book fleet, but obviously we're going for that, 45 centimeter range band with our Tyrants and our Armageddon. This fleet gives you kind of a standoff position where your real means of destroying your enemy are those 2 Armageddon battlecruisers. It's a little weaker against Eldar, but that's really what your Tyrants are for. So again, good, well-rounded list, lots of torpedoes, lots of firepower. All right, on to Blue Book Chaos. This is the standard Cyclops, not the Cyclops sector. It's the standard, Abaddon's 12th or whatever, Blue Book bog standard chaos list. You start with 2 murders, a Hades, 2 devastation, 1 with a Chaos Lord, and a Desolator battleship Well, with the LD8 commander, so the 50-point Chaos War Master, with a Mark of Tzeentch. Again, nice, well-rounded list. Your range band is 45 to 60. You have very little in the 30 band. You have a lot of good ordnance. You have excellent firepower. That Desolator is fast and capable of taking on anything smaller than it. With the assistance of the Murder and the Hades, it could probably take on just about anything in the game. All right, Plague Fleet. For all of you Nurgle fans out there, we have 2 Carnages, 2 Devastations, 1 Executor with a Chaos Warmaster, Mark of Nurgle, and 1 Reroll. You have 1 Slaughter with a Chaos Lord, Mark of Nurgle, Arc, and Hives. So, what is the purpose of this fleet and what makes it so Nurgly? Specifically, you have a good combination of firepower coming out of your Carnages and your Executor. Or Executor, sorry. With good battery coverage and good lance coverage in order to distract your enemy from the slaughter that has the Arc, the Chaos Lord, and the Hives. Basically, it's going to be able to fly in really fast, board a ship, and basically cause it nothing but havoc for the rest of the game. The slaughter is fast enough. With a Chaos Lord, it has good leadership. You'll be able to cause a lot of trouble. Either your enemy has to focus on killing that slaughter with a Mark of Nurgle, or they're going to have to focus on the rest of your fleet. Either way, it's a bad day for the enemy. All right, moving on to the Berserker fleet. Now, I'm not going to make a Berserker fleet list that doesn't have my beloved Khornate short bus with a Retaliator, Warmaster, Mark of Khorne, and Chaos Space Marines. It also has a Devastation with a Chaos Lord, Mark of Khorne, and Chaos Space Marines. And it has 4 Slaughters. That you should be able to identify the purpose of this list. Fill the board with Dreadclaws, with that beautiful +1 hit and run, while your Retaliator and Slaughter fly across the board and desperately try to board anything they can touch. The Retaliator has the ability to board things much bigger than it and win in combat. All right. Sorceress list. All right, we're a little top heavy here because if we want to have the feel of a sorceress list, we have to use the tools that we have. Chaos, the sorceress fleet is very expensive, but we might as well have fun with it. So today we brought our War Master on the Scion of Prospero. It has Strand of Fortune or Warp Beasts. It is your choice. It also comes with 3 Slaughters and 6 Idolators. This is a fleet where you are desperately trying to keep your enemies focused on your Slaughters and Idolators while the Scion of Prospero works from the back table, launching ordnance and basically preventing your enemy from doing anything. It can launch up to 9 Dreadclaws. That can disable any ship in the game. With Strand of Fortune, you don't lose. Basically, you have everything set up where you simply do not lose any leadership checks. You will do what you want to do through the entire battle. Downside, everything is kind of weighted on the Scion, so if the enemy has a lot of Nova Cannons, you're going to have to find some terrain to hide it behind. All right, Pleasure Fleet. Now, this is another one of those kind of top-heavy fleets, but I think you'll understand what I'm trying to do with this. We start with the Wages of Sin. With your standard Chaos Lord, it has the Veil, and it has 1 reroll. You also have a Devastation to cover up for your necessary carrier capacity, so you're not overwhelmed. And you have 2 Slaughters with Chaos Lords, Marks of Slaanesh, Siren Song, Veils, and Chaos Space Marines. It's a very elite, small fleet, but those Slaughters, when they get close to the enemy, doesn't really matter if they're braced for impact or not. They are preventing your opponent from going on special orders. They make a zone of no leadership. Okay? They literally, in that zone, for the in that zone, they are very hard to shoot from the Veil, and the Siren Song prevents your enemy from going on any special orders, leaving them exposed to shots from the Wages of Sin, bombers or assault boats, and the shots from the Slaughters. It is a fun little psycho fleet, and they're very good at boarding, and they have great leadership as well. Moving on to Space Marines. So, Space Jarheads, what do we have for you? Now, obviously, people have brought a lot of different Space Marine fleets. I made this fleet because I actually would love to play this fleet. 4 strike cruisers, standard, bog standard strike cruisers, no variants. 6 Novas, 8 Gladius. Because in reality, as I've said time and time again, the real firepower are in the escorts. It's time to actually start using them that way. And you'll find that you're going to start killing your enemies much faster as they focus on strike cruisers. All right, weaknesses to this fleet, obviously anything heavy on the lance, but you have 6 Novas and 8 Gladius to counter that. Eldar will weep against this fleet. All right, the Adeptus Mechanicus. Okay, Admech is another one of those really finesse elite fleets, so we're going to be having a pretty small series of ships. We have a Leadership 9 Archmagos, 2 range upgraded Tyrants, 2 range upgraded standard dictators, one of which has a range upgrade, and 6 Nova frigates. Now, as you can see, there's not a lot here, but you don't need a lot. The dictators and the tyrants are very powerful. They're very punchy. You have a lot of torpedoes, and you have those Novas. Getting an AdMech fleet to fit in 1350 is hard, but this is definitely enough for you, with the upgrades that you get naturally, to do very well in a tournament. All right, Corsair Eldar. Today we're gonna play the game that makes your enemies cry. You're starting off with a Pirate Lord, bog standard Pirate Lord, no additional rerolls. 2 Eclipses, 1 Aurora, 6 Aconites, 6 Nightshades. I don't think I need to explain further than that. That's enough to make whoever's playing you against the table pull a gun and shoot you. Let's move on to the next fleet. Craft World Eldar. Now this is a little bit different. We have Flame of Assyrian with Uriel, because why would you take the Flame without Uriel? A dragon ship with vampire hunters, a Farseer, and aspect warrior fighting crew. I would recommend placing Uriel's flagship and the dragon ship on large bases. I'll explain in a moment. 3 Wraith ships. I usually prefer them to have a pulsar lances and pulsar lances and torpedoes. Put batteries and launch bays on the dragon ship, just so you know. At 1 Wraith ship has aspect warrior fighting crew, 6 shadow hunters of your preference. In this particular scenario, I'd go with probably the lance ones. Now, let me explain why large bases for Uriel's flagship and the dragon ship. Boarding. You have aspect warrior fighting crews. You have Eldar ships, okay, with the ability to move twice, and Space Marine grade boarding. You should be taking advantage of it. Uriel's flagship comes with vampire hunters. The dragon ship comes with them as an upgrade. You now have effectively, you have Dreadclaws with Chaos Space Marines on it. It's a mean, nasty, vicious little fleet that will do a lot of harm to your enemy. All right, moving on to the next one. Dark Eldar. Yes, we have a Dark Eldar list. You start with a Dread Archon, 3 Torture Cruisers, 2 of which with launch bays. Okay, and 1 of them with a dual Impaler module. That means 2 Impalers. And 8 Corsairs of your preference. I would probably go with 6 Battery and Dark Lance combo, with 2 of them having Impalers, and everything has Mimic Engines. This will probably make you get banned from the tournament, but you know what? When it comes to winning, the Dark Eldar simply don't care. All they care about is winning. All right, Orcs. Now, I took this out of the Orc WOG list, so bear with. You have Orc Warboss with looted torpedoes, Gorbag's Revenge, 2 Kill Cruisers, 2 Terror ships with torpedoes, 12 Brute Ram ships. What isn't there to love? Right? What isn't there to love? It's a big, solid, ordnance-heavy fleet. You have 2 Kill Cruises that are effectively bombs. You have 2 Terror ships that are effectively bombs. You have 12 Brute Ram ships that are effectively bombs. And you have Gorbag's Revenge, which is the biggest bomb of all. Beautiful. I mean, there is no weakness to this list. All right. Necrons. It's a pretty simple fleet. You don't have a lot of choices. This one is 4 Scythes, 6 Dirges. Make your enemy cry. You do have the weakness of, if your scythes start taking too much damage and they're destroyed, you've basically lost the tournament. But if you're good enough, that's what phasing out is for. Remember your phase out rules and you will do well. All right, on to Tyranids. Now, It took me a while to build this list. I'm not hugely experienced with it, so if I got anything wrong, I apologize. All my Tyranid fans out there, please feel free to make fun of me. Okay, Tyranids, you should have a full launch and boarding torpedo hive ship, nothing else. All launch, all to all boarding torpedo. Hive mind influence and imperative with an LD9. You want that leadership. You have 12 escort drones with tentacles, 8 bioplasma krakens, 2 cruisers, claw bioplasma. You want to go in and you want to eat, and 10 pyroacid standard escorts. Okay? So you'll have a total of 22 escort drones, 10 with pyroacid, 12 with tentacles, 8 bioplasma krakens. Now, how would you use this list? It seems pretty obvious. Disgorge ordnance every round. Keep your hive ship in the back and do nothing but fill the board with assault boats and boarding torpedoes. It doesn't matter that they're not great. It's all a matter of force by attrition. What are your cruisers meant to do? They stay behind your escorts until your escorts have done all of the dirty work by soaking up the fire, if you can. After they've started going in and hitting things with pyroacid, bioplasma, and tentacles, have your cruisers come in and clean up the mess with boarding and claws. All right? Now, final fleet. That's right, classic Tau. Now, this is mean. And I'm telling you, again, you're probably going to get banned from the tournament for this. Leadership 9 Commander, 2 Explorers, standard Explorers, with torpedo bomber upgrades. 2 Heroes, 1 Messenger, 6 Orcas. Right now, I'm probably hearing everybody cringe with maximum force when they hear this. Because, ultimately, this is a nasty fleet. It's a very ugly fleet. It's a very bad fleet, and I feel ashamed for making it. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Adepticon is this week. If you see me, comment, and I will give you freebies. Somebody is getting a fully painted fleet from me. Somebody's going to be getting a whole demiurge fleet from me. I have tons of stuff to hand out. Hopefully, I'll have none of it by the end of the con. If you come up to me and want to play a game and I don't have anything to give you, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of people and it's a huge con. Regardless, come, play, have fun. I can't wait to see all of you. I can't wait to have some fun blowing things up in space. Thank you all and have a great day.